So the last key component that I really want to talk about is yoga and movement. And again, going back, this stems from the original question, did an elimination diet help you manage your psoriatic arthritis? Short answer, yes. Hell yes. Oh yes, it did. It helped me manage my inflammation so much. Long answer, yes, it helped, but there are so many other things that I've done in conjunction with my diet that you have to do in order to support your body's processes, to really support yourself to whole healing. So, yoga and movement. When I was in a lot of pain, I didn't have a lot of energy, I would go to my doctors and say, oh, I can't even get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't have the energy to get out of bed. And they say, oh, you just need to move. Like that, you just have to, that was the last thing I wanted to do, and that is not what I wanted to hear. But now, looking back, yes, I do think they were right. Now, I think it depends on your state. I mean, if you have mobility issues, or maybe you can't lift things with your shoulders, or you can't weight bear on certain joints, all these things come into play. So it looks different for everyone. But constant movement, constant moving of our joints, getting our body working really helps. It helps get our synovial fluids moving. It helps get our lymphatic system pumping up. It gets our blood flowing through our bodies. We get lots of oxygen. It helps lubricate our joints. There's so many wonderful things. Now, you really have to figure out what works for you. And what worked for me may not work for you, but this is what worked for me, is doing yoga. And I started doing it in a chair. Well, I did yoga before all of this, but when I was really going through this, when I had a really hard time, when I didn't have mobility, I couldn't put any weight on my leg, I would sit in a chair and just do some simple sun breaths sitting in a chair. And honestly, you think, okay, you probably burned off like 1 calorie. What's the point of doing that? Well, the point isn't, looking at it as, I'm going to burn off all these calories doing my chair yoga so that I can go eat some chips. It's really just to get your body moving. And when your body's moving, you get that momentum. If you go on Twitter or Instagram, you'll see a lot of hashtags like motion is lotion, or if you don't move, you fuse. And it's so right, because if you're not using your joints, if you're not, continuously using them or moving, or you're going to get stiff. You're going to get fluid buildup in there, that inflammation, and it's not what you want. It's going to cause you more pain. It's going to cause you more problems, and you're just going to be miserable. So my suggestion is to start with a low impact yoga. Maybe you have to start in a chair, or maybe you can sit on a mat, or maybe you can do a whole flow. I've written a post about how you can implement yoga in your own home. For a good year and a half, I never went to a studio because I knew my body and I couldn't keep up with everybody. But doing it on my own got me to that point, and then once I got to that point and I started building up my stamina a little bit, I was better equipped to do something like an elliptical or ride a bike, with getting into the cardio aspect of it. So I really think that a huge component of healing, and especially with my psoriatic arthritis, was yoga. And I also know that yoga really helps balance your mind, body, and spirit. So not only was I helping that movement of my body, but I was also helping to rein in my nervous system, balance out my body's processes, help the detoxification process with the twists that I'm doing, or help, when I do an inversion, recirculate my blood. All of these things are wonderful for our bodies and really help support our system. So just laying in bed, just sitting on the couch, it's not doing ourselves any favors. Now, I realize that sometimes we need rest days. Absolutely, 100%. We need to honor our bodies for it. But as long as we can, we need to be moving. We need to be doing something, even if it's little. And once we're done, we have to, give our body the love. So maybe it's icing our joints, or maybe even using some heat before we go and do our exercise. So it's important to look at all aspects of that, but I really feel that a movement practice, and especially yoga, to me has been super, super important to helping me rein in my psoriatic arthritis.